Hey there, welcome to That Dang Dad, a place to try some free samples in the marketplace of ideas. My name is Phil. Thank you for joining me tonight. I finally managed to catch up with the Zizek Peterson debate, and I had some thoughts on it. I'm not going to critique anyone's performance or critique any of their ideas or tell you who I think won or anything like that. I think smarter people than me are going to take care of that online. Instead, I kind of wanted to explore what the heck we're doing when we even have like a debate like this. So let's take ZVP as our kind of example. So first, Jordan Peterson gets up and gives kind of like a 10-minute overview where he sort of frames the topic of the debate the way that he sees it and offers sort of his perspective on things. Then Slavoj Zizek gets up and he gets 10 minutes to do the same thing. They each get a short period to react to what the other one has said. There's some audience questions. They get to ask each other some questions and then answer it. Then there's closing remarks, and bing, bang, boom, battle of wits concluded. Love it. So, let's be honest. If you're a Peterson fan, I kind of doubt Zizek converted you to his sort of pessimistic brand of Marxism. And if you're a Zizek fan, I'm pretty sure Jordan Peterson did not win you over to his sort of kind of Christian-fueled capitalism or whatever. So, when the dust settles, what exactly did we do here? Was it vanity? Was it a grift? I wouldn't go that far. I think that there's value in listening to two academics argue about something at length rather than try to dunk on each other in like 200 characters on Twitter or whatever. It's nice to hear a long form argument for something. I think for me, the real value is in hearing the way that an idea sort of interlocks with some other kind of complementary, supplementary, or even kind of downright hostile other ideas. I think the feature of the debate is that it's kind of semi-random. You don't know what your opponent is going to say. And so, if you bring ideas to a debate, they sort of get dynamically tested by, things you weren't anticipating. I think this was really clear in the Zizek-Peterson debate because Peterson basically spent his entire opening remarks critiquing specifically the Communist Manifesto, and then all of a sudden discovered that when Zizek got up to talk, he was not at all sort of focused on that specific book and was instead talking about things that have been happening in the last decade in politics and economics. And so there was a little bit of a, oh shoot, I prepared for one thing, my opponent brought up another. It's neat to hear the way that these ideas sort of bounce off each other. In fact, at times the two even like agreed with each other on certain things, which was kind of interesting. They kind of took things in different directions, but there was a lot of points of agreement during the debate. And in fact, I can't be sure, but there was at least one part where I kind of thought Jordan Peterson looked a little charmed by Zizek and his sort of weird digressions and things like that. So I would say if you're like a lore nerd for economics, I think the debate was worth your time. If only to see how both the participants sort of responded on the fly to everything. I will say this, I don't think that a debate really has any value as kind of a crucible, to test the truth claims of ideas or anything like that. I think debates test preparation, they test thinking on the fly, they test your charisma. Whether you agree with Peterson's ideas or not, I think even he would tell you afterwards that he was a little underprepared for sort of the places that Zizek wanted to go, and is pretty unprepared to stand out against Zizek's swagger and his sort of easy command of all these kind of arcane topics and dirty jokes and things like that. But, swagger is not any reason to trust someone and trust that they're telling the truth. And I think a debate like this really requires a lot of supplemental knowledge that, not everybody has. It kind of requires, at least this one required a real command of kind of the scholarship. They brought up all these thinkers and books and essays and movements and things like that. And unless you sort of study this in school, like 20 to 30% of this debate is going to go right over your head. I think for me it was closer to like 33%. I haven't run the numbers finally, but it's about 33, maybe 35. I don't know. So, like, if you were hoping that this debate was going to be just this pure ideas broadcast to these rational, open minds that are soberly weighing the evidence for truth, I think you'll be disappointed. I would even disagree with something that a lot of people are saying, which is, well, this shows the value of two professionals having an open dialogue about things that they disagree with. And, it was not, I would not say it was a free exchange of ideas. I think both participants were talking about wildly different things that they were interested in. I mean, that was what was fascinating for me about the debate. Jordan Peterson clearly wanted to talk about the Communist Manifesto, and Slavoj Zizek clearly wanted to talk about other things. So I don't know how much exchange of ideas that there were. And none of us are rational. We don't just consume ideas through a rational membrane. I mean, we hear ideas and we shoot them through the prism of things that we already believe, and we kind of evaluate them against the way that we already see the world. So I kind of think that the debate did have one important value for all of us, and I think it shows that this stuff matters. Whether you're a lobster boy or a Marxist raccoon, I think it's fair to say that these questions are not idle academic wankery. Economics really impacts people's lives. It's real stuff. It's not just a game. It's not just a theory and formulas and some charts in a book somewhere. I really loved that this debate generated a lot of buzz because, economics is how people feed their families. It's how people survive. So I'm really glad people are sort of taking this stuff seriously. So what do you think? Was the debate worthwhile? Am I being cynical about people sort of changing their minds about things once they see the debate? Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe give me a like. You can subscribe if you're nasty. And either way, I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time on That Dang Dad. Good night.